Hey folks. Good morning. Welcome back. I'm the professor, Dr. Chris McCusker. Welcome to another episode in the Quarantine Management Institute, where we are learning to lead in new ways together. I'm doing another episode on working. I was looking at the episode I posted the other day, and I realized I gave an impression, and maybe the wrong impression about one aspect, and then I had more to say. First off, in that episode, the previous episode on working, part one, I emphasized physical work. You know, here I am on the north side of Chicago painting, which is really wonderful. I've been sleeping well. Slowly, the bags are going away from under my eyes, Chicago has been called by Stud Circle actually a city of hands. You know, because there's a lot of people working with their hands here. For various reasons. I mean, it's a distribution hub. It's sort of a location where a lot of things get shipped from. It's always been a city on the build, on the move, and a lot of craftsmen, etc. Meat packing capital of the world, etc. A lot of butchers and so on. So it's a city of hands, and so I kind of emphasized in the earlier video the physical work that gets done by many people here and elsewhere. But I don't want to give the wrong impression. I think it's also important to acknowledge the importance of office work. I've done quite a bit of that myself. And the dignity and the meaning that is found from, as my friend says, getting your seat in that chair all day. And it's not easy. It's emotionally and physically and psychologically draining sometimes to have office work. And so I'd like to continue this discussion of working and the importance of working. And, you know, like I mentioned in the earlier episode, it strikes me as a very important subject, not only for what I'm doing here, but also for, around the world. A lot of people are not working and they're used to working, and that's very difficult for a number of reasons. People who are on the front line, people who are in ordinary jobs tend to be hit hardest by COVID-19. And then we have the essential workers, the first responders, who are heroically risking their lives to keep us safe. And so I think we have to pause and think about working. Also for me personally, physical work has been very helpful. There have been a couple times in my life when I've experienced depression, anxiety, and I've gotten out of it through physical work. In some ways, when I'm the first time I traveled a lot. I traveled almost every month, and that caused me to be sort of under pressure, and that work pressure and traveling. Every weekend I would travel as well. Really kept me from sitting around and staying depressed, So staying busy has been one way to combat depression in my view. And then more recently, with depression and anxiety, I've done physical work, and it just tires you out. So you just don't have time to sit around feeling sorry for yourself. You have to go to sleep and get up and do it again, So I feel like physical work has been significant for me, but I've done the bulk of my existence doing office work. And so I have some thoughts about office work. What we're seeing now is that many jobs are being done remotely. People are working at home virtually. And so I'd like to share some thoughts about that. I've done most of the videos I've done here. And if you're watching, if you're looking at WordPress, posting on WordPress, and really setting up social media, it's all been done on the computer in a home office. And so I feel like I have some experience to draw on, and then I've been reading some things as well. So I'd like to just share some thoughts about how to effectively work at home and do virtual work. There's another episode on virtual teams and facilitating a virtual meeting. The first thing I'd say about virtual work in my experience is that I focus a lot better if I exercise in the morning. I mean, it's so easy to roll out of bed and then get a cup of coffee, sit at the desk, and start to type or start to do something. But if I say, no, let me first put on these shoes and get out there. And even when I started, it was a 20-minute jog, very, very slowly. It has a big impact on my focus and concentration, and how it's basically just turning on all the switches, turning your body on, and that makes a big difference. So I recommend when I'm doing home work in the office, or if I'm going to work in an office, get up and do a little bit of, just even a small, even 20 minutes of exercise makes a huge difference in my experience. The other thing is, especially now for the working at home, get up, shower, shave, get dressed. You know, you don't want to stay in your pajamas. You don't want to be on the Zoom call with your pajamas on the bottom, and above the table you're wearing a jacket and a tie. I mean, I think it feels good to get dressed. Essentially, then what you want to do is create structure. Structurelessness is very stressful and causes anxiety. So if you can create structure, some people need structure more than others. But for me, getting up, doing a little bit of exercise, then getting dressed, shaving, getting dressed, eating breakfast is structure. I'd say more in the morning, structure is important too. If you get a routine to get going, and I think that seems to help focus. Now, if you're at home and you live with folks, you want to designate some office space. This is where you work, and please don't mess with the desk over here. You want to also negotiate some do not disturb time. And, you know, in most cases, when I'm in a university setting, I close my door. People know something's going on. Don't disturb. If I'm there, but I don't mind if I get a visitor, I'll leave the door open. You know, so there are different ways we symbolically say, look, do not disturb. Now, when we're at home with family, we got to negotiate that. Say, look, okay, from 1 to 3 today, do not disturb. And I think it's something that has to be renegotiated. Especially if children need attention, and so does the spouse need attention, and so you have to be careful to negotiate things. One of the things that we do in an office setting is we establish rapport. We connect with people. So I'll go get a cup of coffee, and I'll stop and say hello to Kim. How are you doing today? How's your weekend? You know, and it just creates a positive feeling, coordinates us on mutual cooperation. Or I'll get a coffee and I'll say hi to Laura or someone else. You know, and you know, I miss my coworkers, and that positive feeling you get from chit chat for a few minutes. So I think, you know, what I've learned is that you can still do that. The problem is, of course, sometimes a phone call can be a barrier. Like I found, like now if I call someone, it's going to be 45 minutes on the phone by the time I'm off. So what I'll do is I'll send a text, say, look, I'm taking a 5-minute break. If you want to chat for a minute and catch up, and then get back, yes, and then can call. You know, and because in the office we keep it short. You know, we don't sit there for an hour and talk to you know, the coworkers around the coffee pot. You know, we stick and move. We got to say, okay, anyway, have a good one, and we get back to work. But it just adds something, that social element, that positive connection, that adds something to the teamwork, but also adds something to our motivation. Some people, myself would be one, are extroverted, and you feel elevated and energized by interacting with others. Other people, you feel drained by interacting with others. So you have to know thyself first off, and then know your coworkers, and usually you can find someone who's similar to you who wants to chat. So for me, I'll talk to my parents, call in the morning, call at lunch, and that helps with that issue. I got brothers and sisters as well, and friends, but I think connecting to others. So let me review. Get up and exercise, even 15 minutes. It does help the focus. You're going to sit at your desk and focus better if you just do a little bit of exercise. Shower, get dressed, shave, guys. You know, keep it like you normally do. There's something that is sort of walking through that door after showered and shaved and smelling good and feeling good, and you sit down and work better, I think. Designate workspace. This is my area. This is where work gets done. Let's not go over there, kids. Negotiate do not disturb time. There are some times during the day you need not to be disturbed. And then create structure generally. Structure your day. Create a routine. The more structure you create, the more productive you'll be, is, I think, a maxim. And then don't forget about connecting to others emotionally. Build rapport throughout the day any way that you can. I don't know. I hope those are some thoughts about office work in this age of the coronavirus, COVID-19. We've got to stay strong and get through it. All right.